Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The topic of our meeting is the situation in the border territories of Russia, Bryansk region, Belgorod region, Kursk region. An assessment of the events taking place must certainly be given, and this will be done. But the main thing now is to solve pressing problems that are emerging at a given moment in time, and based on forecasts for the development of the situation. The main task, of course, faces the Ministry of Defense: to squeeze out the enemy from our territories and, together with the border service, to ensure reliable cover of the state border. The Federal Security Service, together with the Russian National Guard, must ensure a counter-terrorism situation and an effective fight against enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups. And the Russian Guard also faces its own combat missions. Civilian departments are obliged to ensure that law enforcement agencies are supplied with everything they need. I won't list everything, but this certainly applies to industry, transport, the construction sector, medicine and financial support. Finally, everyone, together with the leaders of their respective regions, must focus on the main task. And this is support for our people who need help and protection. Before getting down to work and giving the floor to the meeting participants, I'll add a few more words. It is becoming obvious It is now clear why the Kiev regime refused our proposals to return to a peaceful settlement plan, as well as to the proposals of interested and neutral mediators. Apparently, the enemy, with the help of his Western masters, is carrying out their will. And with the help of the Ukrainians, the West is fighting with us. And so, apparently, the enemy is striving to improve its negotiating positions in the future. But what kind of negotiations can we even talk about with people who indiscriminately strike civilians, civilian infrastructure, or try to create threats to nuclear energy facilities? What can we possibly discuss with them? Second, such actions, of course, pursue the main military goal, namely to stop the advance of our troops to completely liberate the territories of the Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republics and the territory of Novorossiya. And what? What is happening on the front line? What are the results? The pace of offensive operations of the Russian armed forces, volunteers and veterans, not only did not decrease, but on the contrary, increased by 1.5 times. Our armed forces are moving forward along the entire front line. And finally, another of the enemy's obvious goals is to sow discord and division in our society, to intimidate people, to destroy the unity and cohesion of Russian society. That is, to strike a blow at the internal political situation. But here too, the answer from Russian citizens is already evident. A unanimous support for everyone who is in trouble, support for the army, and an increase, which is very important, an increase in the number of people willing to join our men, the fighters who heroically defend Russia with weapons in hand. The number of people willing to sign contracts with the Ministry of Defense has increased in recent days. The leaders of the Kiev regime not only commit crimes against the Russian people, but in fact have embarked on the path of extermination of the Ukrainians themselves, the Ukrainian people, which apparently they no longer consider their own. The losses of the Ukrainian armed forces are increasing dramatically for them, including among the most combat-ready units that the enemy is transferring to our border. The enemy will certainly receive a worthy response, and all the objectives set before us will, without a doubt, be achieved. Let's get to work.